I talked about this also in my 10 goals for 2021. It said, I'm curious if you're going to do any more with your music. I loved the last collab you did on stage. Thank you. It definitely seems like one of your gifts. Also, I always wondered this because of your love for food. Does yours and Dan's weight so well... Oh, I'm assuming she meant to say stays so well in check because of how healthy you eat, or is it in the genes, or both? Okay, 2 answers. 1, I'm trying to do more music. So I talked about this in my goals. I'm trying to learn how to produce my own music because I already produce my own videos. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's the hard part. Like they don't want to make a video or they don't know how to use camera equipment. Dude, no. Sound is hard. I'm not downplaying sound. Sound is hard. That's why I haven't done it yet. But I feel like I'm over here being like, I already know how to do all this other stuff. Like I used to edit music prior to being a YouTuber because when I had all my injuries back in the day that are, whatever, you guys know, it's a whole thing. When I couldn't dance, when I couldn't do shows, I would edit music for a lot of different reasons. That's a whole nother story we're not going to go down. But I'm trying to learn how to record and edit my own more like simple acoustic music so I can release stuff more regularly, similarly to my videos. Like I just have an idea and I make a video, and I would like it to be like that with music. So thank you for the encouragement and the compliment. It means so much to me because I missed dancing for so long, and now having music in my life in another way is just really fun. Now, as far as the weight, yes, it is what you said. It's both. It is our genetics. Dan has always been on like the skinny side of life. And he actually has a hard time sometimes with his appetite. Like his appetite will just sometimes leave him. So that's actually kind of been a little bit of a struggle. And it happens to me too, but it pretty much only happens to me when I'm either anxious or I'm like deep in a project. Because if I'm happy and chilling, like I could eat so much food. So, you guys know, I eat a lot of food, but I really like to eat quality food. And so that's the thing. This lighting is so annoying. And so that's the thing. Like I have really worked to enjoy healthy food. And the more that you eat like real food, the more that you crave it. And I've said this before and I've gotten a lot of flack for this. But I think it's because you guys don't really understand what I really mean. I think that if you are eating whole natural food, and you need to hear that statement, whole natural food, I think most people wouldn't struggle with their weight. Now, what I mean by that, I don't even think that I eat whole natural food. I think we are all so entrenched, I'm going to use that word again, in modernity and so detached from our food, which is supposed to be our sustenance, keep us alive and thriving. We're so detached. I think we think things will be healthy when they're not. For example, I was drinking some almond milk in some cereal yesterday. Cereal. There we go. And we've actually started using some of that almond milk in Logan's bottle instead of formula, which is a whole other thing. I had posted on Instagram wanting information on formula, and then I realized through all of your messages, like he doesn't need formula anymore. He can just have some other kind of beverage in his bottle because it's not his main form of nutrition. Anyways, I was like, dang. So this is like, basic ingredients, right? On the packaging. But in my mind, it's still kind of junk because it's like, when was this even, like we've started baking our own sourdough, for example, right? And so we've gotten it one step closer. It's like, here are the whole wheat berries that are going to be ground down because similarly to juice, so when you juice produce, you immediately start losing the nutrition. So when you buy bottled juice from the store, it is never, ever going to be as nutritious as if you did the juice at your home. It's the same thing like with the wheat berries, right? When you crush it, you're going to start losing nutrients. So making that flour on your own is going to preserve some of the nutrients. But if you go a step farther, it's like, well, I didn't grow that wheat. Like how long has it been picked from its source and sitting in a bag? And I think that same concept is like everywhere around us in everything. And people are being so impacted. I don't even think we realize it. And I know a lot of people think that I'm insane for thinking that, or that I'm just like drawing conclusions and I'm being anti-science, which I really don't like that phrase. I think that science is just the pursuit of truth and understanding things. And we all know that has changed as time has gone on. So it's just like a pursuit of knowledge. So I think that all of that affects us because you have to look at everything, right? Like what dishes are you eating out of? What water are you drinking? What makeup are you putting on? I think it's a lot of things. And so I think that Dan and I live a cleaner life than a lot of people do. And I think it affects our health in a positive way. But I don't think that Dan and I live that clean and healthy of a life. And I'm really excited to clean up our sources of food, particularly, even more as time goes on, and hopefully move somewhere even a little less congested for cleaner air. So that was a long spiel to go back to your original question of like, how do you guys keep your weight down? It's genetics and lifestyle choices. And even our lifestyle choices, I just want to say, I don't even think that they're that great, because I think that we are all literally blinded by convenience and modernity to the problem of all of that. Like, I think we're blinded by that to the problems that can come along with those things that we just think are normal. And we just like, oh yeah, that's life. But it's like, they weren't doing that like 100 years ago. And a lot of people will say, well, that's okay. Like, that's the greatness of modern times. I keep using the word modernity. And in some ways it is. But one of my favorite phrases is unintended consequences. And I am personally under the belief that there are a lot of unintended consequences that have slowly been ushered in with modernity that has taken place in the last 100 years. So I keep answering your question and then going on and on and on. It's a lot of things. And like I said in my video about my hair, I was talking about my skin and how I used to have perfectly flawless skin. And then when I got my period, when I was around 18, I developed cystic acne, huge cystic acne everywhere. And prior to that, I used to kind of think like, well, my skin is great because I just take really good care of myself and I always wash my face and like I eat decent food and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, I felt like smacked in my face by God. But on top of that, I really did realize like, man, life is a combination of choices, luck, blessing. And while you don't ever, in my opinion, want to give up hope and give up continuing to strive for better in your life, I feel like there also always has to be this element. I know for me in particular, being a Christian, I have this feeling of like, it is what it is, whatever God has for me. And I think that we have to try to walk that line of like, taking responsibility for our own lives and our actions and our health, and also knowing that we cannot, like, I just think control is an illusion. So there's also this element of like letting it go to God. And that's a really hard place to walk. But yeah, I'm gonna go on to the next question because I did not expect to go on a tangent from your question. I think you recently alluded to not being that crazy about the Enneagram more. Why the shift? Okay, guys, you have to know something about me. Part of me, this is bad, right? This is the part of me that people go like, anti-science. But part of me, when things are really popular in a big way, I automatically start getting like side-eye at it. I'm just kind of like, And so when I first discovered the Enneagram, I found it very helpful. Then it got really popular and I noticed my automatic like reaction of being like, But then really what happened is I saw quite a few Christian YouTubers talking about the supposed origins of the Enneagram and just making some points in how that could potentially be a little bit of a conflict in your faith. And I just kind of started to agree with them a little bit. Now, I don't fully agree with them. I'm like this in a lot of ways in life, guys, where like half of me feels completely one way and half of me feels completely the other. And I've just like trained myself to feel comfortable sitting in that place. Some people might say like cognitive dissonance, if that's what it is. But I'm fine with it. I just think that, things can be true for different people. Anyways, Enneagram. I still find the Enneagram interesting and helpful. And like my dad, for example, he claims that it like changed his life. Like he didn't want anything to do with it. And when I was super into it, I was reading him his number when he was in town and he was just like, what? And then he started looking at it more at home and he was like, dude, this like changed my life. So he also felt really positively about it. And I know my sister has felt really positively about it. So I am still kind of into it, but also and I'm not even answering your question. I realize like why? And I'm just like not giving the details, but it's kind of because I don't fully remember all the details. I mean, I know people talked about like supposedly one of the people that created the Enneagram or was one of the founders or whatever. He had claimed that he had like channeled the information through a spirit. I'm like, that's a little weird. Yeah. And I think ultimately, here, let me back up. Here's my biggest problem with the Enneagram and all personality type things in general. I know the Enneagram is touted as, not a personality thing, but more like how you function, your childhood trauma, your strengths, all of that. But my problem with it is when people get really into it, it becomes too much. I think it can become too much of a guiding identity, like taking things on, good and bad, and sticking there. And sometimes I've seen people in my life through the Enneagram take on a label that I'm looking at them and I'm like, but I don't even think that's true about you. Now I think you're just kind of walking this out because you've decided that. I don't know. I'm kind of going down a weird path, but I just, the first time I remember I was having a conversation about the Enneagram with a friend a couple of years ago, and she was like, I don't need the Enneagram. I'm a child of God. And I was a little bit like, why are you being so sassy? It's not that deep. And I still kind of feel that way, but then I kind of agree with her. I'm kind of like, yeah, you're right. It does become a little bit of an obsession for people and a labeling thing. And so I'm both. And that's something that I wish people, I think it becomes confusing for people on my channel. It's confusing for people in my real life, how I can sit in two camps. But one thing that I have I want to shout to people when they get confused about me is how do I live my life? My opinion almost doesn't even really matter. I can have opinions and kind of sit in one camp, but it's just I want to, and I hope that my life can be a testament to what I believe and what I think. So yeah, man, that went all over the place. I keep looking at the clock because I'm like, I can't talk for hours on here again. Okay, this is a good one. And this is the one I think that in the last video, I felt like I didn't like my tone, my reply to it. But this was actually the top rated comment. It says, hi, Nikki, since you've been covering more and more controversial topics in your Q&As, and I love how candid you are, thank you. Does your opinion on things ever change after reading through people's thoughts in the comments? So what I had said in that Q&A was basically no. And I don't know if that's fully the right answer, because maybe my mind has been changed through comments. And honestly, my absorption, is that the word, of comments, videos, podcasts, books, tweets, Instagrams, whatever, over the years, it's all kind of compiled to help develop and change my thoughts. But I've never read a comment after anything I've posted and I've been like, holy Toledo, I never thought of that. I don't think, it's not popping up in my head, which actually is part of the reason, it's part of the reason I don't spend a lot of time trying to debate people, because I think that people come to their conclusions on their own. And I often think that when people come back at you with something, that it's not that we've already made up our mind, but it's it puts people more in a position of I don't know, they don't want to hear it. And it's not that I don't want to hear opposing thoughts. It's that I have thought through so deeply the perspectives that I have, that what I have found most often is that people don't leave comments that really address my thoughts in a way that shift them. Most of the time, the comments that I get, even if they're opposing views, it's saw that from 12 miles away, not to be too sassy. Now I'm all paranoid about being sassy in this video. But I just have thought through a lot of things. We had a conversation with someone recently. That sounds weird. I've thought through a lot of things. But the things that I'm going to talk about publicly, I think I'm someone that often presents myself as whatever. And it is because I'm kind of like that. And also, yeah, I am kind of like that. I actually, when I posted the formula thing online, I was like, oh my gosh, I always run my mouth about doing so much research. And then I didn't even know that he didn't need formula anymore. So I guess if you're looking at something like that, yes, my mind does change. But I think when I first read it, what I was particularly reacting to, it tells you where my head's at, is the thing that I've gotten the most flack on with my channel for the last 6 months or whatever, and that is masking. And I know a lot of people have said, has your opinion changed on how you feel about masks as everything has gone on? And I'm just I'm kind of just sitting over here thinking, did people, maybe I don't remember what I said, but my thought is, did people hear what I said? Because of course my thoughts haven't changed. I said in that video that I'm very sad about the state that we're in. I'm very sad about my child going out and seeing masked faces. I'm We're traveling next week and I'm not excited to even wear a mask around Logan because I mentioned this in that video. Like, we just don't go out to many places ever, where we have to wear a mask. We try to stay outside and stay spaced out and all of that jazz. And it's fine. It is what it is. But when I responded the first time to the Q&A, that was kind of where my thought went, was I was like, I bet they're talking about masks and maybe they're talking about vaccinations too. And at this point, no, my opinions have not changed. And I don't foresee any comments changing my opinion. And so that's the thing. We go back to the beginning about time could change my opinion. Sorry, I want to pause and go back. Time could change my opinion. More information could change my opinion. And I think sometimes that's why people want to leave certain things in comments. But I've never been left information regarding those things that has peeled back my eyes and made me be like, wow. Because here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. And that goes for everyone, right? So someone that might be mad at me and leaving a comment doesn't know what they don't know that I might know, but vice versa. So of course my opinions could change over time. Of course someone could present something that makes me be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. But at this point, that's not happening very often. And, everything going on is so sad for so many reasons. And I think the other thing I want to back up to about the whole controversial thing, and I probably have even used the word supposedly 4 times in this video. A lot of people were upset with me that I, use the word supposedly when we're talking about things going on in the world with the illness that's going around. And I just want to say what I said back then, which was that I use the word supposedly, like that YouTube video of that little boy, where I think they call him the supposedly little boy. And when he's talking, he's like, supposedly there was supposedly another person that supposedly, and it's it's a joke in my life that I talk that way. I have grappled with the idea of gossip since I was a little girl, because gossip, I remember thinking this through as a child. I'm like, that is a granular thing, if that's the right word, but then it also is a big scale thing, like the game of telephone, just gossip in general. And I have wondered for my whole life what that even means, but I have seen throughout my whole life that people lie. People change stories. Sometimes people just see something and then tell it differently than it really is. And that's not referring to the way I used supposedly in that video regarding the people that have passed away. I just mean it in regards to, when you're dealing with the whole world and one situation, one giant situation, and when doctors are being, silenced that have different opinions versus the previous model of, medicine in the US, which is, you get an opinion, you can go get a second opinion. Well, secondary opinions are being squashed right now. And I just think that just like the game of telephone, there's a lot of people involved in relaying information. I think it's pretty easy for things to get confused, relayed in the wrong way, misspoken. I think that there's a lot going on. I'm actually going to stop myself now because I'm not trying to turn this into that kind of video or give a book report of everything that I've been thinking about and reading and watching and all of that. So that's that. But yeah. Okay, so this is the last question I'm going to answer. This says, how has the management of your chronic illness been going? I have one too, and I'm curious how you're doing with the new thing that you have been trying. Okay, so this machine that I'm using, the Phoenix Wave, it's incredible. I'm still suffering, for lack of a better phrase. I'm still dealing with a lot of pain. Every day is something different. And just I'm at not something different, but every day just is different. And trying to figure out how to function each day is I'm always kind of trying to go with the flow. But in general, this machine is insane, and I will be sharing more about it in upcoming weeks. You'll be seeing it in a day in my life, but I've just been playing with it and working with it. It's the treatment that I was using at my doctor's office, my chiropractor, and I was able to get a prescription because it is an FDA approved device, and purchase it over Christmas. It's expensive, but Dan's parents actually got it for us for Christmas, and I'm so grateful because I can't wait to see what my body is going to do in the next 3-4 years on that machine, because I've already seen miraculous results. Like, even though my lower back is super messed up right now and I've never had low back problems, my upper back has been a problem, like, dude, a large chunk of my life, and it is so much, like 90% better now. It's kind of crazy, and I'm watching my body change. So yeah, if you don't want to wait for me to share more as time goes on, you can look up either the TheraStem, ARP wave therapy, or the Phoenix wave form. They're all the same type of thing, just different companies. And yeah, I will definitely be sharing more with you guys in the future. I, had a full on, I feel like I have full on breakdowns over my pain, and just like, not even like, I'm so like, when I say over my pain, it's not like I feel bad for myself, I'm gonna cry. I've said this before. It's like someone going, Mom, Mommy, Mama, Mom, Mommy, and you're like, it's cool, it's fine, I'm chilling. Hold on, give me a... And then you're like, ah! That's how it is in my heart sometimes with my aches and pains. I can keep kind of a good temperament up, I can keep motivated, I can keep hope, and then I'll hit this point where I'm like, I can't handle it anymore. And then I end up like crying in the closet or something like that. And I had one of those about a week ago. But yeah, I'm sorry for all of you that are struggling out there. And I really hope that this helps me, not only for myself, but because I have prayed the whole time through all of these injuries that, like, Lord, if this is my cross to bear, help me to bear it with strength and dignity. But please, the desire of my heart, and I want to be healed so badly. And if you do heal me, please help me be able to take something from it so I can help other people. And so it sounds lame, maybe not lame, but I'm really hopeful for this. And I don't know how I had never even heard of this machine. Like, if you want to go online and look this up, it is insane. Literally, it seems like everybody who uses this has positive results. So I don't know how this has never been brought to my attention, because the claims that the companies make on this technology are that it can help like 99% of people dealing with chronic pain, acute injuries, whatever. So, insane. On that note, I'm going to go now. I keep looking at the clock. Dan and I are actually going to go drop some stuff off at Goodwill, and that's it. I hope that you guys have a good rest of the day. If you're struggling right now, I was gonna say keep swimming, but then like immediately the thought came into my head of like, actually get down on your knees and pray. That's aggressive, but that was the thought that came into my head, was just take your cares to the Lord, cry to Him, bring it to Him. He cares for you. And also keep swimming, because you really don't know when things can change. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go now, and I will hopefully see you guys back here soon with another new video. Bye, guys.